G'day, my name's Hannah Maloney and I'm here to show you 5 ways you can turn your food waste into beautiful compost in your home and garden. But why, you ask? We need to get all our food waste out of landfill where it's becoming hugely problematic. Luckily, we can turn our kitchen waste into garden gold. The first thing you need to know about composting is that you can compost anything that was once alive. How wonderful! So on my kitchen bench, I've got 2 food scrap bins. I've got one labelled for my chickens and one for compost worms and my compost bin, because you want to send different things to those different places. Over here in my compost bin and worm farm, you'll see I've got things like tea bags, banana peels, even citrus can go in there, moderation, don't freak out. Onion peels, garlic can all go in. And I've also got some old brown paper bags that have done their day. Paper, cardboard, all these chunky things which take a bit longer to break down go into the compost bin and the worm farm, which those systems can cope with. However, my chicken bin, I've only got things that they can eat really quickly. Things like rice porridge that my daughter didn't eat this morning, carrot tops and other fresh greens, plate scrapings from leftover dinner. Anything cooked can go in there, so small meat scraps, fresh or cooked. Cooking oils, of course, can go in there as well. So now you understand you can compost pretty much anything. I'm going to show you around my own compost systems. Let's go. Here we've got the humble compost bin, which is actually one of my favourites to use. It's straightforward and works brilliantly when you know what you're doing. The only thing I change is that I add what's called some vermin mesh on the bottom, which keeps all the rats and rodents out. It works a treat for us. There's heaps of different compost systems, but they all have 4 universal ingredients. That's air, water, carbon and nitrogen. Now, carbon is just dry brown stuff. Here I've got some mulchy straw, which I'll be using today. But you can also use shredded office paper or cardboard. Just make sure they don't have any heavy inks, or aged sawdust or brown dry leaves. Nitrogen is stuff that's quite still fresh and sometimes a bit stinky. So today we're using food scraps here. The really important thing that we need to know with compost bins is that you need to put in 50-50 of each for a good carbon to nitrogen ratio. If you only put food scraps in there, it'd be a stinky nightmare. So every time you put in a bucket of food waste, you put in a bucket of carbon directly after it to smother it, to prevent any smell and to keep the flies away. Now the finished product of compost should look something like this. Beautifully dark brown, the colour of 70% dark chocolate in fact. And it should feel moist and crumbly, so not dusty at all and definitely not sticky and wet. Now, how long will it take you to get to this point, I hear you ask? In summertime in Tasmania, expect it to take between 2 and 3 months, whereas in winter it will take a bit longer. Because of that wait time, I really encourage people to have at least 2 different compost systems they can alternate between. Otherwise, you'll have a backlog of food waste trying to squeeze into the bin. And the other wonderful thing about mature compost is the smell is beautiful. Our chooks play a key role in our composting system. They live with our goats in their main yard, and you'll notice they're not on bare earth here. Instead, we've dumped tons and tons of wood chips here over months, and it's breaking down beautifully into what will eventually be gorgeous compost. Now, every morning we come down with our food scrap bucket and we give the chooks their feast for the day. Sometimes the goats get some too. Please remember that you only give them what they can eat during that day, so you don't attract rodents to your system.